the horse pasture and pull out some stumps, as well as clean up some old hay that the horses have dropped and left sitting in the mud. We need to clean up some stumps so we can get the tractor in there more easily to take care of raking up the horse manure, and just so that it stays clean for the winter. I haven't run the excavator a lot. Normally it's something that Ryan does. I just learned to operate it a couple weeks ago, and I've only probably got about 5 hours of experience running it, if that, probably only 3. So I definitely have some learning to do still, but it's been pretty fun to learn. Doing here is I'm picking up the stump and then I'm dropping it so that I can get as much of the dirt off of it as possible. We'll probably burn these stumps, and if not, we'll leave them to rot into compost. But either way, I want as much of the dirt from the horse pasture to stay in the horse pasture as possible. So that's why you see me picking it up and dropping it several times. It's not actually because the excavator loses grip on it. It's just to get as much of the dirt off as we can.
So now what we're going to do, I'm going to help Sue out a little bit. I'm going to stack up some firewood over here along the fence. And I'm going to take this one tree down so she can swing more than 90 degrees. And then she's going to keep clearing in here. So she's not quite comfortable enough to knock the tree down with the machine yet, so we'll do that for her.
So there's actually a stump right here under this hay. You guys, I'm sure, can't see it because it's pretty well hidden, but that's why I'm having such a time picking up this little bit of hay there, is because there's a pretty good sized stump under it. So what I'm going to need to do is dig out the roots around it. And sounds like we've got a big rock under there also. I don't know if that comes through on the audio or not, but you can hear when you hit a rock with the excavator. It makes a pretty distinctive sound. So I'm trying to get under it here, and it's actually Looks like it's a couple pretty good sized ones, but you'll see when I pick this up, it's a fair sized rock. And we'll have to bring the tractor back out in the pasture here after I'm done with the excavator to pick up all these rocks and pick up the stumps, or we'll use the excavator to move the stumps so that they're not in the pasture, because obviously we want it to be very safe for the horses, and leaving piles of stumps around for them isn't safe. With excavators, that piece right there is called the thumb, and that's moved with a toggle that you actually use with your thumb. And you can also move the bucket in or out. So when you're grabbing things, you have to balance the grabbing with the thumb versus the grabbing with the bucket. And that's one of the things I'm getting better at, but still not as good as I'd like to be, is that coordination. Another thing that you'll see is sometimes I forget that I shouldn't be moving around as much as I do with the boom out. The closer you have the boom to the excavator, the less you're going to bounce around and move, and the more weight you can safely lift. So one of the things I need to work to remember is using that to my advantage, staying close enough to my work. I tend to work really far away from the excavator, and that's not always the best choice, although sometimes you need to do it. So I definitely have a lot of learning left to do, but I've come quite a ways in the short amount of time that I've been working with it. Ryan's really good about giving me pointers, but he's also excellent about letting me take time to learn for myself. A lot of these things you do sort of have to learn for yourself. And he gives me the time and the opportunity to do that, but then tells me that there's, other techniques that might work better for that situation, or if it's something that he's concerned that I can't safely do because I don't have the skill set yet, then he'll go ahead and do it. Like tipping over that tree earlier, that's something that I haven't done except for one really small tree, and it's something that I'm not comfortable doing yet. And as I operate more, I'll definitely get a lot better at it, but for now it's best to let him do it when it's something that I'm not comfortable doing. One of the things about what we're doing here is it's important to get a little bit out of your comfort zone, but to do it safely and to do it just a little, not too much. Because if you're completely out of your comfort zone, you won't react the way you need to if an emergency comes up. So, for example, if you're pulling on a tree stump with the excavator really hard, you'll see that it'll start to actually lift the excavator up. And if that pops loose, you'll drop it really hard, which you don't want to do. I've avoided that pretty well so far. But things like that can get unsafe. You can roll over the machine if you do something really wrong. And so you do have to be really careful, especially with things like heavy equipment and with animals. There's a lot that can go wrong. But none of us are born experts, and we all have to make our mistakes. So the key is to make sure that you're putting yourself in a situation where making a minor mistake isn't going to cause a big hardship. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually repacking the ground where we've pulled some stumps out. So I'm putting a lot of the excavator's weight onto the bucket so that I'm pushing the dirt down, and that's to make it safe for the horses so there won't be holes. Horses put a lot of pounds per square inch because they're about 1,000 to 1,200 pound animal on an itty bitty 6-inch-ish round circle. They've got 4 of them to stand on, but lots of weight in a very, very small space. And so they sink into ground really easily, much more easily than like something with tires would. And so you have to be really careful to make sure that when you're digging up stuff and excavating, that you really repack that dirt back down so that it's safe for them to walk on. The nice thing about the excavator is it is heavy enough that it packs the ground quite well.